that's a tremendous looking trophy.
Hello, welcome to Platinum Explosion, number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Dylan Blunt. Joining me, as always, Ashley Hobley.
Hey, John, excited to be here for the 350th episode of this podcast.
Also known as the last episode of the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, so strap in, big show.
Yep.
Close it out.
Had a good run.
Had a good one. Or should we do 351?
I guess if we got time to schedule, you know.
If we got time, we'll see how it works. Man, I love for the because when I use the podcast, my podcasting app like Pocket Cast, I got that trim silence feature on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that bit wouldn't work. But
No.
for any of you suckers out there, don't use that feature. Awkward moment there, but anyway. Yeah.
Unless you were excited, in which case the awkward moment was later.
Yeah, that couple. Yeah, true. Yeah, so I love doing those the little awkward pauses on podcasts sometimes because you never know who it's going to work for or not. Yeah, some people just gets deleted. Like me, if I was listening, gone. Right? Other people, they're like, has my podcast?
No, I think you know we do the awkward laugh afterwards, so you know
it's true.
They understand that they missed something.
They missed a bit, yeah, because it just cuts straight to like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see Ryan Gosling's probably going to get nominated for a fucking? They're going to get nominated for. That's crazy. Anyway,
for best
video games.
SNL hosts usually get nominated in best guest actor.
Yeah, it's crazy for that bit.
There was a lot of other good stuff in that episode, though. You know,
yeah,
Virus 2.
True, but everyone remembers that part. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. All right, PlayStation. I've heard of it. Have you heard of it? Cool. Anyway,
I am familiar.
That much. You're familiar. Cool. Let's get into some news. So, Press Start writes, a new Astro Bot game is apparently set to be announced in the next few weeks. It's been long rumored, but we now have more concrete information about a new Astro Bot game that is set to be announced imminently. This comes from D-Lab's Billabib Kun, who has been leaking PlayStation stories such as the PlayStation Plus games for the last few years now. According to the leak, the game is going to be called Astro Bot and will be released exclusively for PS5, not PlayStation VR 2. Further to this, it said that part of the game will take place in a desert area with a new character described as a fennec fox in the form of a robot. Previously, it was said that Asobi's next game would be its quote-unquote most ambitious yet, according to job posting. So it's exciting to see what fully fledged Astro Bot game could look like. Excited?
Yeah, I mean, Astro Bot is going 2 for 2 so far. You know, 2 fantastic games of the franchise. Although I guess this one would be the first, you know, fully fledged.
Well, yeah, what do we got? We got a full game as a PSVR game, and then you've got a included demo disc,
bundled
right?
in demo.
Yeah.
Or,
well, it's not demo, but like
no, it's a
tech game, tech showcase,
a showcase game.
Yeah.
Which is still one of the best games on the PlayStation 5.
It was still one of the best games. It was one of the best games that year, and it's still one of the best games that have been released on PS5. However, it was obviously designed as a tech, which is fine. This game's free on PlayStation, it's fine. But yeah, that's how it was designed. So
yeah, so to see what they could do with the full budget, full scale, you know, you would imagine it would be Astro's Playroom, but like bigger and better.
My question would be like people who played Astro, what was it called?
Rescue Mission.
Oh, Rescue Mission.
Is a vision.
And what was the other one?
Playroom.
Oh, no, what was Playroom? That's what I was thinking, was it? For people who just played Playroom, which I guess most PS5 owners would have played Playroom, right? And I would love, like, I was about to say surely not, but yeah, I guarantee people out there, I guess, brought a PS5, saw that, went, oh, kids thing, delete, you know.
Or them Call of Duty bros.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? Yeah. But for the people who played it and hadn't played the PSVR game and really liked it, and obviously a big thing in that game is just you're playing for a couple levels of PlayStation nostalgia, collecting all the collectibles, all sorts of stuff. Does the game have to lean into that, or is it not because like obviously the other game, the VR one,
Yeah.
the one we played first that was not.
It was just
part
a
of
normal
the
world.
It's just
It was.
So
I mean, the potential. I mean, they could go either way. You know, maybe they could start off in the PlayStation world and then break into the internet and have to go. You know, maybe it's a ripoff of Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah. But no, I mean the potential's there. You know, Astro Bot has the potential to be Sony's Mario. Okay.
What do you reckon this Fennec Fox in the form of a robot?
It's just a robot enemy or friend, one or the other.
Not like
or some
co-op character or anything crazy like that.
No, just someone you come across or an NPC or something like that. You know. He's probably just seen like a screenshot that they're going to show or like a clip from a trailer they're going to show in the showcase or something like that.
And I guess my last thing would be another big thing about the playroom was obviously it's the levels sort of themed around the levels environmentally themed as all platformers do, but obviously we're also themed around different mechanics of the PS5 in particular, the DualSense controller. Is that something they should continue doing?
I don't necessarily think that's, you know, it'd be good if there is a general theme to each level, but, you know, in most levels in games, there is some sort of, you know, theme. But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if there was some sort of meta element to it all, you know. I think what a lot of PlayStation fans appreciated on top of like all the PlayStation collectibles. You know, just the meta-ness and what was the song?
Yeah, I can't remember the song, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I had to pick, like, which should they keep and everything, I'd say definitely just continuing on with using the DualSense and the PS5 tech to showcase, because none of the stuff in Playroom felt like weird handy forced stuff. It just, you know, like even the fact that like it just did a really good job of explaining, like when you're walking across the snow or whatever, and you know, like the haptics and whatever else. So it just did a really good job explaining how all that sort of stuff works. And a lot of games obviously still don't utilized it that way, which is like you only expect to see such utilization out of a first party game anyway. So yeah,
and a lot of the first party studios haven't really had much to do with the haptics other than it shakes. It's hard to pull hard to put a bowstring. Yeah.
Okay. So apparently it's going to be announced within the next 2 weeks.
Whenever this showcase is.
Yeah.
They're all anticipating, which, you know, will be announced once this podcast goes up.
It's not going to be announced when it goes up. It's going to be announced
in the next 45 minutes.
Well, no, I would say probably around. So we're recording currently around 7:30ish on Tuesday night. This post Wednesday morning. So it's gonna. So some point after we finish recording, and then we record what do you want to watch after this. Then we'll separate. I'll go edit this. I don't know if you're going to edit what do you want to watch straight away or whatever you're going to do. But at some point after I edit it, then I'm probably going to watch a TV show. At some point after that, I'm probably, you know, I'll have a snack or whatever.
Probably about midnight,
somewhere around there, I'll start scrolling through Twitter, getting ready to be like, man, it's like 11:30 midnight. It might be time for sleep.
Then they'll be like, yes, Days of Play is starting in the next 24 hours. We got a showcase right after that.
And then I'll think, wow, that's crazy. I have this whole episode scheduled to go live in about 5.5, 6 hours. This is going to be funny
because we predicted this bit perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I hope when I explain these things in such finite detail that I really do hope they just play out exactly as I said. But it will still annoy me, but I'll be like, I'm a god. So, all right, let's talk about Neil Druckmann. So, Press Start has a story here, and then they've got an updated version to the story. So, but just the original story first. Although yesterday's Sony corporate meeting and its creative entertainment vision proposition might not have had that much in the way of PlayStation-related news or insights, the company published a meticulously crafted interview of Naughty Dog studio head Neil Druckmann, speaking to the company's desire to future flex its IP across multiple mediums and shift the barriers for creators. Most interview focus on the goals at Sony and how evolution of technology, the future might pave the way for new innovations, etc. Basically, he had a quote saying quote. And then we'll get to, is it a real quote? So originally it was going around saying, I've been lucky to work on several dream projects and currently excited about a new one, which is perhaps the most thrilling yet. There's growing appreciation for gaming that transcends all age groups. Unlike when I was growing up, this shift is highlighted by a venture into television with The Last of Us, which I hope would bridge the gap between games and non-gamers. That shows success as spotlighted gaming, illustrating the rich immersive experiences it offers. This visibility excites me not only for our current project, but for the broader potential of gaming to captivate global audiences. I'm eager to see how this new game resonates, especially following the success of Last of Us, as it could redefine mainstream perceptions of gaming. And everyone's like, oh my god, you guys are blah, 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 blah. Updated version of the story after a quote attributed to Naughty Dog studio head Neil Druckmann in an interview coinciding with Sony corporate meeting elicited a combination of excitement and eye-rolling last week. The co-creator of Last of Us has come out claimed that the words were essentially put in his mouth and the unedited version of events reads quite different. Posted on Twitter, quote, in editing my rambling answers in my most recent interview of Sony, some of my words, context, and intent were unfortunately lost. And then he shared the full interview thing. Now, give me your thoughts on this part, but then I also find it interesting that people spat it over this part, less so the part where he's talking about using AI. But this apparently this was the bigger problem.
I think it's just an amusing story. Like,
I think the fact Sony fucked him is
the fact that Sony fucked him.
Yeah, it's beyond that.
I'm just kind of confused how this was presented, because it was part of their big, like, it's not like they released the text somewhere, right?
No.
There was like a presentation.
Yeah, it was a presentation.
So, like, did they just...
It was a PowerPoint slide.
Oh, it was a PowerPoint slide, okay.
I think so.
That's so weird. Because it's a presentation. Why did you just record the interview and then play what he said on stage, you know?
Well, no, they couldn't play what he said because it was, I mean, as he shared, I think it looked like it was an email. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why didn't you just interview him? You know,
man, Sony,
this guy who was the head, you know, one of the co-creators of your biggest PlayStation Productions project.
It's hard for Sony to get their hands on someone who works at Sony, I tell you.
Yeah, you know, and what kind of how on earth they botch jobbed that into being, you know, completely not what he said. I don't know. You know, I think, you know, generally you don't play around with people's quotes. You just kind of leave it as it is, even if it is a rambling piece of mess, you know?
Well, that's where, like, citations come in, like just correcting spelling, but you still leave the quote intact, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
even if it does make sense.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I remember sometimes I copy in, like movie synopsises or something, like, just random like that from a press release, and like a red line will come up with a like something, like a couple times where there's been a spelling error, and I'm like, nah, I'm not fixing it. That's what came. That's what was in the email. Wasn't me.
All right, Shaggy.
No.
But yeah, I mean, the reason I think this got so much traction is because it's so hyperbolic and, like, ambitious, I guess, you know. And Neil Druckmann is a divisive figure on the internet, to put it plainly. And anything he says will get backlash in general, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you think about his AI comment? So he in the other part was he said AI will revolutionize video games.
Did he say that though?
Well, yeah, I guess that's the question.
You know, I definitely think AI will be used in certain ways, and of course, gaming is based. There is inherently AI in gaming. There's no way to get around it. You know, we need AI to control the enemies that we're facing and that kind of stuff. So AI is a thing. It's just, you know, how you use it, and is it being used in an ethical way, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with AI in general, but I think the sentiment about, like, just against how you talk about it, and, like, if his quote was right, which of course we're now doubting everything to do with this, but his quote was basically saying that it can, you know, take away certain aspects and get people focused on other aspects of video game making. But I'm like, yeah, but, like, technically they're taking away, like, that's jobs at that point.
Or is it just making people's jobs easier? Is it making somebody who would have to work on something for 5 years only have to work on it for 3 years?
It depends.
Bad. Is that bad
art?
because they don't get to work for 5 years on a project?
Well, no, it just
or is it
depends,
good that they get to finish it in 3 years and then can do something else?
If it was like, I guess the thing is, like, if people are like, man, AI is great, you can like find bugs in our games and point out like it can, like, basically find bugs and code and like that sort of stuff. So I'm like, cool. But they were like, man, using AI is great.
But all those bug testers are losing their jobs, Dylan. You know,
well, they'll still have to bug test it because they're still going to play it. But I'm just talking about like at a coding level, right? You know,
I'm sure there's somebody who was checking on this.
How do you know the game crashes when you wear a certain hat and fall out New Vegas into a certain city at a certain time of the day during a certain mission and it deletes your save file? Like, how the fuck do you find that without playing it?
That's why you have to keep playtesting it, every single combination of things.
Yeah, that's right. Every hat. But yeah, when it's like, oh, you know, like it'll help speed up development because we can just ask AI to do a bunch of concept art for us. At that point, I'm like, well, concept art is a huge part of the creative process for video games, movies, TV. You know, I'm like, at that stage, I'm like, no. So it depends, I guess. Press Start also has PlayStation is seemingly working on a new mobile games platform, as spotted by the folks at Twigtown. A new job listing from PlayStation Global seems to suggest that the company is looking to greatly expand its offerings in the mobile space, with calls for a mobile platform architect to help it design and implement new mobile games platform. It's not entirely clear from this listing what the quote-unquote mobile games platform might actually mean in real-world terms, but looking at the job interview, it would seem as though PlayStation's intentions are to develop a unified platform for its development and distribution of mobile games, as opposed to it trying to spin up a whole dedicated storefront similar to what Xbox is working right now. The quote for the job listing says PlayStation Studios Mobile is seeking an experienced software engineer to design PlayStation's platform for developing, publishing, and operating free-to-play mobile games. Now, I got to be honest, I feel like we've been talking about PlayStation
trying to break into the mobile space for a long time. Trying to break
into the mobile space for a couple of years at this point, at least. Probably 2 years. 2 years, I'd say. Like, properly. And I'm yet to see
anything.
Shit. Yeah. So a lot of jobs, hires, ideas over the last few years, but yeah, I mean,
little results.
And we're talking about like what, hiring someone to build something now. Cool. Look forward to that in 5 years. I don't know, like, yeah. And the mobile games platform isn't something I don't feel like you need to like overthink, really. It's just you get a decent game on there that makes people want to log in every day. You don't need to overthink the platform. And
if you can make a platform that lets you keep all the money and not have to give a share to Apple or Google, you know, that's a profitable proposition. You know, and then if you build a platform and have other people put their games onto your platform, you know, and you take like a minuscule cut of that, that's pretty profitable. Potentially, you know. And obviously the mobile game space in the West is like fine, you know. I'm sure it does pretty well, but this is clearly something that they focus on the Eastern audience, you know. The Japans and the Koreas and those sort of countries that like gaming on phones is super common, you know. Massive money in those markets.
If you're Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
Do you see that weird phone thing that was in the presentation thing? No, not the phone thing, the portable as well?
No, I don't think I did. They had like a boomerang controller at one point.
That thing, yeah.
They're bringing back the PS3 or whatever the PS3 code name was. Remember that?
Yeah. I can't remember what it was called, but yeah. Boomerang.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. Release it. Limited edition controller.
Why not?
Make a bunch of money.
Pushquare writes, Stellablaze PS5 quietly adds uncensored new costumes in controversy aftermath. Stellablaze came under fire at launch when a day one patch altered the look of a couple of Eve's costumes in the game. Many felt Korean developer Shift Up had been persuaded by Sony to censor the character despite the inclusion of over-revealing outfits in the game. The studio has always maintained that the changes were intentional, although it admitted it would have a difficulty proving this to fans. Well, here's its attempts. The company has quietly added 2 new extremely revealing outfits as part of its Boss Challenge patch, neither of which were communicated prior to that wait. To reiterate, you automatically unlock both black kunoichi and white kunoichi when you install the update. While the Neuralink suit can be attained by beating all opponents in the new node, but it never mentioned the inclusion of the Midsummer Alice or Midsummer Red Hood, both of which can be purchased by from Roxanne in Zion with a patch installed. These are both variants of some of the more suggestive outfits in the game. With all of the additional allegedly censored material removed. Show me them vagina buttons. You know what I'm saying?
This is another case of gaming caving in to the vocal minority, the far right, and giving them what they want. Vagina bones. You know? Won't somebody think of the children? You know? That extra 2 centimeters of skin is going to make a huge difference in people's lives. Yeah, this is just a dumb story. I don't know if people have been claiming victory or something. I hope not, because honestly, these costumes just look like every other costume in Stellablaze.
Yep. My favorite comments on the article is just the fact that, like, scrolling through the comments on this article is you have stuff that just goes like from that's a lot of titty to from like that level to further down, getting someone writing, let's be real, Shift Off played us blind here. Wouldn't be all surprised if this entire saga was planned to some degree. This is, after all, from the same company that develops an incredibly popular gacha game and probably has an entire department committed to player behavior and psyche.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if that's the case, props. You know?
They're like, yeah, we've done a psychological study, and what we'll do is we'll remove the vagina bones, and then the players will want the vagina bones.
These fucking weirdos will get outraged.
Yeah. And it worked.
For these extra pixels.
Look at them now. Look at them now. All right, and finally this week in our Last of Us TV series news, Jeffrey Wright has officially joined the cast of The Last of Us Season 2. He played he's playing the same character he played in the video game. This is long story short. He played Isaac in the video games and in the video game, and now he's returning to play Isaac in the game. So
yeah,
I was in the TV series. They announced his casting because he was filming the day after, basically, because there's already photos of him.
Already photos.
Yep. So that's cool. That makes him the, I don't know, second, third, second. There you go.
Second to play the same role.
Yeah. Do you reckon he'll have a bigger role, bigger actor? Because like he's not like he's in it, but he's not.
I mean, it depends. Like if he's filming already, and they're like, I guess it very much depends on how big they're making the second season, or how much of the story they're tackling in the second season. You know, and how they're tackling it. I guess
Yeah.
Is he just showing up to like go? You guys can go after that dude you want to go after. And it's just like one scene at the start, and you save him for next season or whatever.
Because I was about to say, like the stuff we know that we've already seen photos of that everyone's spattered about, those photos with Bella Ramsey and whoever, I can't remember the actor's name, but they on the Dora the Explorer on a horseback, right? That's from obviously early in the game, whereas these photos of Jeffrey Wright on set as Isaac would be from
later in the game.
Yeah, so interesting, but yeah, I mean it's cool. Obviously, Jeffrey Wright, fantastic actor. I mean, whatever.
I mean, it would be a bold choice to get somebody else to have played that role.
Yeah, I mean, especially unless he turned it down, I guess.
Yeah,
but There you go. The
But
Last of Us 2 is filming.
It's still filming, you know.
Still filming. They're still casting and still doing things. Good for them. Good for them. All right. That'll do it for this week's episode of Platinum Explosion. Of course, let us know your thoughts, opinions on anything we've happened. Well, how do you feel about vagina bones? You can do that by tweeting us, explosionhour.com/Twitter. That's our X page. And you can join our Discord, explosionhour.com/Discord. Come chat to us over those places. And if you want to support the show and all the website, you can do that. explosionhour.com/support takes you to our Ko-fi page. And until next week, remember that every trophy counts.
I'm really glad that we spent the 350th episode of Platinum Explosion talking about vagina bones.
Had to make it special somehow.